Tonight we continue our series on what the Diocese of Springfield is doing to help refugees. Reel to Reel's Carolee McGrath spoke to two young men who were part of a group known as the Lost Boys. As she tells us, their struggle, survival, and their faith in Christ is an inspiration to everyone who hears their story.
34-year-old Adim Malek thanks God for all of the blessings in his life. Adim is a proud American. A devout Catholic, Adim attends St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield and St. Mary's in Hamden. He's a graduate of Our Lady of the Elms College, where he majored in marketing. At first glance, he looks like any other young, successful professional. But his story, his history, includes heartache that most people couldn't even imagine.
I was just living in a village as any other child that is born in any part of the world. But since Sudan is a country that has been in war for 2 decades, one time my village got attacked so bad that most of the houses were burned down into ashes and all the livestock were taken and everybody was displaced.
Adim was separated from his parents when his village in South Sudan was attacked during the Second Sudanese Civil War, which lasted from 1983 to 2005. He's part of a group called the Lost Boys of Sudan, little boys who were separated from their parents or in many cases orphaned. The war claimed more than 2.5 million lives.
I happened not to be at home because you know how boys want to play around. And so when this attack happened, I was playing outside with other boys somewhere and I couldn't have a chance to go back home to reunite with my family. But I got myself in the company of other elders because in South Sudan, a child is a child for everybody in the family, in the village there. So they took care of us by telling us where to hide, and the fighting in the village went on that nobody happened to go back to where they live.
So Adim stayed with the group as they walked for days, weeks, and months on end to find safety, first in Ethiopia, later at refugee camps in Kenya.
We lost some of our friends on the way due to lack of food, and we lost some of the people due to starvation and wild rivers and wild animals attacking us all the time. But you know, not everybody could die. So whenever there is a bad situation, some people survive. Not everybody could die because it's according to God's plan, because He reserved some people to be witness of what happened.
Jewish Family Services helped settle Adim in Springfield when he came to the U.S. as a refugee in May of 2005. Catholic Charities helped Adim and other refugees as they found new hope in America.
We are grateful for all these people that have been part of our lives, and making friends also help us. As we settled here, it was tough, but we were open to make friends and make new families.
But Adim, who became a U.S. citizen in 2010, says he'll never forget the other Lost Boys who became his brothers as they triumphed over tragedy. Peter Abalish Madal was also part of that group of the Lost Boys. He came to the U.S. with Adim as a refugee.
In the morning, it was about 5 in the morning, 6. So the militants, which sent by the Khartoum government, start shooting people in the village. So we start running away, trying to escape the shooting. So I found myself in a different direction with my cousin. So my mom and other siblings found themselves in a different direction, and that's how I separated from my parents.
Peter also ended up in refugee camps in Ethiopia. Then he went back to Sudan and later to Kenya. He says he was only 4 years old, maybe. His older cousin was about 9, and he took care of him while thousands of little kids died along the way.
It took us long walk. There was no shoes, there was no clothes, no food, people surviving in a terrible living.
You would think that with everything that Peter and Adim went through and the horrors that they witnessed, that they would be angry with God. It would be a natural reaction. But Peter and Adim say that their faith actually grew during those times of great suffering. and they say they always felt that Christ was carrying them through. Peter says he became a Christian while he was in the refugee camps. He says God is his hero.
I thought God was the only person that I know after my mom, my father were not there, because I took him as my father, I took him as my mom, and because if I want to talk to somebody, he's the only person to talk to.
Peter, who became a citizen in 2011, is also studying at the Elms. He's majoring in social work and religious studies. He works at Yankee Candle and interns for Catholic Charities. Adim works for Valet Park of America and is also working on establishing a nonprofit to build a medical clinic and school in South Sudan.
Having God in one's life is something important, not only because when you are suffering, but every time because you will need Him anyway. Yeah, so God is what has brought us to US, is what has been with us in our lives, is what has been protecting us. And so we may not be doing enough of His word, but we know we believe in Him and we are trying our best with His strength. We will do what He wishes us to do.
And both he and Peter want to give back by helping others who are struggling and by sharing Christ's message of hope and love. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
In the last 3 years, 1,200 refugees have settled in West Springfield and about 700 in Springfield. While Catholic Charities does not resettle refugees, they do help with support services, as they do with others in need.